Hey, let's get in here. Sorry, I am a few minutes late. Technical difficulties. I am not at YouTube yet. So, we are here on the um, Mirror Vision Coaching page. If you are in the room, give me a like, give me a comment. Let me know that you are here. And I am just going to post this, share this. Good evening. Good evening. So, we're talking about touch tonight. We're talking about touch. Feels different now, right? Being in this pandemic for a few years. Most of us, a lot of people have not ventured far from their homes, they've not seen their family. Um, and this has definitely changed how we interact with people moving forward. So, we're going to talk about that tonight. If you haven't yet, share this video, like, comment, let me know how you are doing tonight. Okay. So, we're talking about touch tonight. Again, I don't think I introduced myself, so not again. But hey y'all. Hey, my name is Coach Jackie and I am the visionary and founder of Mirror Vision Coaching. I am a certified clinical sexual coach, life coach, energetic healer. And so, touch is something that is very important for me as a sensual guide, as an energy healer, tapping into people's or being aware of people's aura and energy. Um, I use my hands, I use my body as a way to help people heal. And being in this space that we're in a pandemic that has completely, for at least the initial 6 years, let's not speak that. For the initial 6 months or so, we were like in the house. We weren't leaving our house. We weren't um, congregating. Like we couldn't. There was nothing we could do. And so we created this barrier around us where um, people that we loved, that we um, interacted with on a pretty consistent basis, we now have this fear or this feeling of like distrust to be around people because you don't know how they live, if they're clean, if they protect themselves, if they're doing, with all these things that we weren't really all that concerned about are now just in the forefront. And it has completely changed how we, again, interact with one another. So I posted recently about how um, there's this feeling of like loneliness, of disconnect with people that you once were completely bonded to, right? Like you hung out, you went to dinner, you went on vacations, chilled at each other's homes, right? And then now you're in a place where, like, okay, I don't have those connections anymore. So am I still in relationship with you? Am I still do we still have a bond with one another? And something that I think that definitely was enhanced during this time of the pandemic is that people were forced to have different ways to communicate, to bond, to keep interactions together. So there was an increase in FaceTime and Zoom calls. We're all zoomed out, calling one another, texting, doing movie nights remotely. Like there were ways in which, for those relationships that were deemed a priority in your life, you found a way to continue being in relationship with people. Um, and so, as we continue to go through this social experiment of social isolation, having those feelings of disconnect, of struggling to feel like not being a burden to people, or this need to just want to be in community. Maybe that's the word for it, wanting to be in community. So, as I was thinking about um, this feeling that I was having, and I was seeing kind of going around on social media, it made me ask, okay, so what is this thing about touch? So, we know that, let's back it up a little bit. So, we know that we've seen the studies where they say, for how important touch is, right? And if you're watching, say, hey, give me a like, give me a comment, let me know that you're here. Um, and so we know that there's this, um, we see the studies about how um, touch is so important, especially for like newborn babies, being a doula. Um, One thing that we stress with new parents within the fourth trimester is um, baby wearing. Hey, Bloom. Hey, good to see you. Um, because having that skin to skin contact with a newborn, it helps them to connect with who their lineage is. Um, it gives that baby a sense of rootedness, of connectedness, of um, familiarity. They were once inside, right, where they heard muffled sounds of the people in their family, but now that they're on the outside, they are looking for they don't have that surroundedness that they were once in, and they're having to acclimate to sounds that are different. um, and so having someone that they can connect with skin to skin lets babies know, like, okay, this is my family, this is where I come from. This place is safe, this place is home, right? So um, touch is very important. And when we learned about um, babies that were sick, or they were abandoned, or they were in NICU, right? The need for volunteers to come and hold babies so that they didn't feel lost and dejected, right? Safety, Cheryl. Babies needed to feel like, even though they don't know, like they can't see, they can't hear, they can't understand language just yet, they can feel. They can feel. They're feeling through their skin, they're feeling through their fingers, they're feeling through their toes, they're feeling through their nose, right? They're feeling, so that having someone there to hold them and comfort them lets them know, I'm safe, right? So we know from an early age how important touch is to our bodies. And so, again, I'm doing some research, right? And I'm like, okay, what is this thing that so many of us are feeling? And maybe it goes back to what Cheryl was saying, it's that safety. We don't, we were once safe around our family, our community, right? And then this pandemic hit, and then we're now forced into um, our own ecosystem. We're separated, we're divided from our safety nets, right? And so with that comes those feelings of uh, feeling neglected, disconnect, struggling for sanity, right? Having a feeling of connectedness, of centeredness. And so I'm doing some research and I found the term touch starvation. And I was like, oh, that is it. Um, so when someone is experiencing touch starvation, it can come through, emotions or triggers that can be complements of other things, right, that are going on in our lives, like depression, anxiety, stress, um, having a difficult time sleeping, insomnia, not being able to communicate with your partner, your friends, your family, um, having a hard time concentrating. Those can all be symptoms of touch starvation. So, loneliness also is a part of that. Um, we saw a lot of um, suicide or mental breakdowns a lot during the initial phase of the pandemic because people didn't really know what to do with having their foundation stripped from underneath them. And so, having all of these things where our community was a way for us to have an outlet, we were then forced to have to deal with it on our own, right? There's only so much that your friends and family can do for you on Zoom or on FaceTime, right? Sometimes we need to be held. We need someone else's energy um, to feed off of in order to um, realize we're not alone, to feel safe, to have energy that's good. So that brings me to okay, so where is this all coming from? So it goes deeper than that. So again, I'm a touch person. I'm an energy healer. I'm a doula, birth worker. I am a yoga instructor. I work with my hands. I work with my body. I use my energy, right, to transmute someone into someone else. Um, and there's way like all this is a science, right? There's a meaning to all of this. So, um, there is something called C tactile afferents. What are C tactile afferents, you may ask? Well, they are receptors in our body that help us to recognize any form of gentle touch. So again, it starts from when we're at birth, probably even as we are being incubated, right? Where everything is energy, right? So if we are experiencing gentle touch, loving touch, safe touch at an early age, our body receives that in our C tactile afferents, which recognize gentle touch, right? It's kind of like our fight or flight mode also. So our bodies start to learn what is good touch, right? And what is bad touch. Everything is energy. So um, knowing how those, our body is starting to learn how touch is to be received. So when our C tactile afferents um, get a trigger that ooh, this is a gentle touch. This is a good touch. This is, someone giving me a hug or a squeeze or a rub on my shoulder, on my lower back, or on my cheek, right? Um, that C tactile afferent releases oxytocin. And what is oxytocin? Anyone know what oxytocin is? It is interesting, Bloom. It really is. It really, really is. Oxytocin is the love drug, it's the love hormone. It's that feeling of euphoria that goes through our body when we are excited. And so that is what is released when our C tactile afferents receive gentle touch, a good touch. Yes, Bloom, the bonding hormone, oxytocin. And oxytocin doesn't have to come just from like a romantic or a love type of interaction. It can come from anything that makes you feel good. You receive flowers in the mail. You um, take a bite of dark chocolate. Um, you drink your favorite wine that you hadn't had in a while. You see your best friend. Your team wins, right? It's an oxytocin release. Um, and so we want more oxytocin to be released in our body, and that is released through good feelings, through good touch. When we are stressed, when our body is in high alert, so when we think about our bodies, our nervous system really comes into play, right? So, um, when we are stressed, when we're depressed, when we are anxious, when we're in high anxiety, our blood pressure goes up, right? Our heart rate goes up. Um, our fight or flight response is on high, right? Because our bodies are stressed, right? So if you even think about how you're sitting right now, just release your shoulders. I felt that, right? Like, even though I'm excited and I'm talking, my body is still kind of tense and locked up. So I'm having to tell myself internally, just relax, right? Just relax. But when our bodies are stressed, it releases a hormone in our bodies. Anyone know what that is? And I talk a lot more about this in my tapping for emotional wellness workshop. Um, and it's another touch therapy that you can do on yourself. But tapping, emotional freedom technique, was started. Hey, Coach Jay. Emotional freedom technique, which is known across as tapping, started for was founded as a way to help people release um, stress, lower their cortisol. So it's not adrenaline because adrenaline goes up, similar but not adrenaline. Um, Cortisol, Cortisol, cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone in our body that is our fight or flight. There is a small, and I mean small, kind of like a kidney bean, um, gland in the back of our brains. It's located near the base of our brains, and it's called the amygdala. That is where the cortisol hormone is stored. So when we're anxious, when we're stressed, that amygdala releases cortisol. Um, and so we when we are stressed, our body needs to feel something good to bring us down, right? So when we are in receiving mode, when we are practicing or we surround ourselves with people who give us good feels, with good touch, with good love, our C tactile afferents, our C tactile afferents recognize good touch, healthy touch. And then that will counteract the cortisol to help lower our blood pressure, lower our heart rate. I do have notes because this is good stuff, y'all. This is so interesting. Um, and so when we understand how our bodies work, right? Um, and because I'm the sensual guide here, we're gonna bring it to our relationships, but not just our relationships romantically, but also with family, social, right? But when we are able to understand how our bodies work, when we are in tune with our bodies, with our nervous system, right? What triggers us and what will calm us down, we can learn to ask for what we want or ask for what we need from the people around us so that we can learn how to manage our mental health and our self-care better. Okay? So, if you are prone to constantly being depressed, having anxiety, insomnia, and um, you're not sure how to communicate or voice to the people around you because you may feel like you're being a burden, or you don't want to put, we're all in this craziness together, right? And we don't want to add our stuff onto somebody else. But excuse me, when we are in, there are people all around us who really just believe and love us and support us and genuinely care. And when you can identify where you are in lack and you need something, right? I posted the other day, I need a really good cry session, right? My body is stressed, a lot of anxiety, right? Um, Even though the people that I reached out to could not physically come and put their arms around me, they were able to tell me, "You're okay. Go ahead and cry. We got you. We'll send you some loving energy," right? Um, and so knowing how you respond to stress, knowing how you respond to triggers that um, may happen to you, you can start to develop language and you can start using tools to say, I need touch therapy. Okay. And we're going to talk about how you could use touch therapy um, to bring you down, to lower that cortisol and raise that oxytocin, right? So, um, some of these things that I'm going to share, and please drop some suggestions in the comments as well. Um, some of these, at this point in our lives, you may need to just kind of say, you know what, I need to trust that I'm okay, that I'm safe, but I need X, Y, and Z because if I don't, something is not going to end right. Right. And so, um, some things that you can do for touch therapy um, can be done by yourself, or you can invite someone to take the journey with you. So let me just make sure I covered everything. Leave me some comments or questions, some ideas for touch therapy. Leave some ideas for touch therapy below for others to share or gain some suggestions from. Okay, so this is what I forgot to mention earlier. So part of why early exposure to good, healthy touch, starting from when we are in the womb, but definitely when we come earthside, um, touch is crucial for building healthy relationships um, and tackling things like loneliness, right? So when we think about our current relationships, platonic, romantic, or otherwise, um, you give someone a hug when you are in relationship with them. You pat someone on the back. You give someone a kiss. You cuddle, right? Um, you do those things when you've learned that healthy touch can convey your feelings that you may have towards that person. So, but you know where to categorize them, right? Like you're not going, like you may kiss your grandmother on the cheek or on the lips, but it's communicating. Um, it's probably one of those love types, but it's communicating a fondness, right? You're not going to kiss your grandmother the same way that you would kiss someone that you are married to or dating, right? Um, you may cuddle with your dad or your mother, but that isn't a form of protectiveness and um, a relationship of um, protector. Um, and that hug or that cuddle would be different from the person that you're dating or married to or just needing to have um, closeness with, right? The body responds to gentle touch, right? It's then it starts going into the brain, how it's categorized, right? But the point is that knowing how to receive and knowing what healthy, good touch feels like starts at an early age. Okay. So I'm sorry, Cheryl. I call her Bloom. She goes by Bloom. Um, gave us some ideas um, for some touch therapy, and that high fives, hand holding, massage, footsies. Yes, footsies, right? Okay, and then that can go into a whole bunch of other stuff. But right? Like what your good touch is, right? So you can again asking for what you want. You want to be able to ask for what you want, um, and communicate it to the people who can give it to you. So some other ways that we can do some touch therapy. Cheryl gave us one of them. We can get a massage. I met someone not too long ago who said that she had never had a massage before. And those of us in the group were all looking at her like, huh, how? But then I realized a lot of people may feel funny or protective about who touches them, which I completely get. Um, but there is therapeutic benefits from receiving massages, right? And so there are excellent massages, and then there are some who are bad, and then there's some for the happy endings. And again, it's releasing, it's lowering that cortisol and raising that oxytocin, relationships, and all of that matters. Okay, all of that matters. So we have massages. We can get our nails done. So, um, actually, you know what? I'm gonna say yes because I have a new nail tech, and she is in Southeast DC. And a couple weeks ago, I was getting my nails done, and I got a pedicure. And so she was telling me how her friends were like, "Girl, you need to like bottle up and package up this your pedicures because they are just amazing." When she started to give me a foot massage, I literally like almost fell asleep. It was amazing. And I was watching her. She was putting so much care into massaging my feet, and she was sharing, like, she was like, I one nail care is her thing. She has found what she's here for. But she was like, I love to do this. And she was like, even if it's a minute, I know how good I am at manipulating the muscles in the feet to give to relax your entire body. That she did, right? So manicures, pedicures, massages, um, dance, right? Learn to dance. So if you are dancing, learn a partner dance, ballroom dancing, salsa, merengue, line dancing, step, um, any kind of partner dance, right? Like you're having to connect your hands with someone else. You're leaning back against someone gracefully, right? And allowing them, trusting them to hold you, right? To lead you around that dance floor, right? And it doesn't have to be romantic, but it's in the aura of that, the spirit of that dance. Um, so being in nature, right? Where we talked about babies needing to be held in NICUs, animal shelters, spending time outdoors with animals or with people, um, connecting with the earth, right? Like playing outside, not when it's snowing, but going and touching a tree, right? Going and laying in the grass at the park. Those are all forms of touch therapy. We're wrapping this up. I just want to give a few more things. Um, but touch is so important. As we're in this, as we still continue to navigate this pandemic and learning how to interact with people, right? We all of a sudden seeing loud crowds of people gives us anxiety. Seeing people close together gives us the heebie jeebies, right? Um, yes, connecting with nature is huge. But as we start to for many of us, we have ventured out. We are continuing to meet people. Pandemic or not, people are still getting married. People are still going on dates. People are still communing with their family members, right? It's because it is our innate nature to be in community. We're not meant to be alone. We're not meant to be isolated. And it's going to take a concerted effort to take that step back out into society. It can still be done safely, right? Um, but understand what your body needs, right? And find ways in which you can get your healthy touch in. Um, if you if there's one good girlfriend, one good guy friend that you can call and be like, hey, I just need to watch, sit at home and watch movies. Let's Netflix and chill platonically. Um, let's cuddle and watch a movie. If I'm being honest, I really could go for a cuddle party right now. Like, just entwined in limbs, arms, legs, and just feel people, feel their energy, feel connected. So many of us are struggling to maintain our sense of normalcy, our sense of um, just being sane, really, truly. And being with people who get you, who see you, who know you, who understand you, being in that space is worth more than anything in this world. So I get it. I get why people are saying, I'm a to heck with it. I'm going to go start venturing out. I'm going to start meeting people safely. I'm going to start vetting people so I can, you know, be hugged, be kissed, make love, date, marry, go to a celebration, go on vacation. Touch is so important to our health and well-being. It's important to the healthiness of our bodies, right? So I hope you learned a little bit about, no, I know you learned a little bit about touch today. Cheryl says that's a form of self love. I think, yes, it is. It really is. Acknowledging what you need and meeting your needs, not being afraid of the vulnerability. In terms of knowing your tribe, you're safe, people, but it's important. It is. Ooh, we'll come back with that, Cheryl. Vulnerability, um, because that is another aspect of touch, right? You're allowing people to see through you, into you, and through you, um, and being your authentic self. And finding that tribe who allow you to be unapologetically you, where you don't have to compartmentalize who you are here, there, and afterward, right? So that's, yes, that's a good topic. Let's do that. Um, but find ways in which you can incorporate some healthy touch in your life. If you would like to know more about the tapping for emotional wellness, I will drop the link in the comments. That is a really good workshop to help you do some techniques to lower the cortisol levels in your body. It's good for redirecting anxiety. No, Cheryl, keep it going, honey. Keep it going. It's tapping is good for redirecting the brain from what is ailing you and shifting it around, right? Um, so it's lowering that cortisol and helping you to stabilize your mood, right? And it's also good for helping you to rethink, right? So I'm not going to go into a whole tapping because that'll take us like a whole nother hour. But go ahead and grab my workshop. I'll leave the link in the comments, like I said. But tapping is a free way in which you can, um, tapping is a way in which you can manage yourself. You can't always rely on other people to manage you. You have to learn how to manage yourself. Don't be afraid. I was doing tapping. All of that I was doing is tapping. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable and to tell people where you're at. Lots of us are in the same boat. People really struggle with asking for touch. Absolutely. And like you said, it really depends on what you experienced as a child, those early attachments. Yes. Sometimes our experience of touch needs to be reprogrammed. If you are looking for ways in which to work with me, I like I said, I am a sexuality coach as well as a life coach. Um, and an energy healer. I would love to work with any of you who are looking for ways to um, reprogram some of your thoughts and behaviors around touch, intimacy, um, relationships, so that you can be completely full in your life, pandemic or not, uncertainty or not. All of that is non-factor when you are secure in yourself, my love. So, um, thank you for joining me tonight about the importance of touch. If you are touch starved, get unstarved, feed yourself. I am Coach Jackie, and I will see you pretty soon on another topic. Thanks again. Good night.